It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a wonderful day for a Wonderwood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. While we're together, we might as well say, won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be my neighbor? Hi, neighbors. Welcome to the show tonight. It's 31 more days with Brian and Ed. All my neighbors are here. Ed Troop from Ross Draver Baseball, Ed Troop from Grown Up Ross Draver Baseball, Michael Jordan, who Ed Troop thinks he looks like, and please welcome the king of the kingdom, bald and beautiful, Ed Troop.
So we're still on that. We didn't give that up from yesterday, I see. Still on it.
I just wanted to see it one more time, the pictures of you growing up through the years of Little League. It was so much fun yesterday, and I had to see it again.
Dude, it was pretty good, man. I mean, you got some classic material to work with there, for sure.
Beautiful. And I loved it. And it's funny, for all the things that we think will be important for people to go back on, we try our best to get like really good guests, and we got a great guest tonight, and we're going to try our best to entertain. Putting up pictures of you from Little League has gotten the best response of anything we've done. If we had Obama and Trump mud wrestle on the show, they'd still go back and say, yeah, that was great, but how about Ed's picture from Ross Draver's baseball?
Well, I thought yours was pretty good last night that we posted on there, as far as your Kennedy Township one that you did.
Yeah, let me pull that up too. I don't want to be one-sided. I'm fair and balanced here, so I won't get away with it. This is the one that you're talking about. Wait, hold on. Oh, it's loading. It's time to load. I'm sorry. In the meantime, while it's loading, oh geez, now we can't get it at all. Now, while we're loading, we could put this one up. What was your guy's name? The coach next to you? It looks like Charlie Daniels.
He does look like Charlie Daniels. That's Ed Kitchen, my coach in Pony League.
My man, Ed Kitchen. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm trying to get to it. Well, now that can't be the whole night tonight, right? I mean, it was so much fun last night, and people did love it. Mauricio said, Ed, you should have never sent him that picture. That's not true. I like that picture, and it's fun, and I think everyone's having a good time. Let's just say hello to our friends watching. Hi, Jen. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Mike. Patty, my mom. Hi, Jamie. And, of course, Ed Troop. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, my man, you said that you weren't feeling very good, or you're nervous?
No, I'm fine. I'm good. I got some allergies going on, and that's the problem this time of the year. You start getting some allergy symptoms, and your mind starts to wander when you watch the news longer than a minute.
Right. Now, do you think you have coronavirus?
No, I hope not. No. I hope not.
Now, you are the person for your family, though, that goes out to the store, right? You're the store person.
Yeah, I haven't actually gone into the store. I've just done pickups outside the store. So
okay.
with the mask covered and everything else. But
so you should be fine.
Yeah, should be, right?
You're absolutely fine. I saw that, and I think we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but now I saw that they went full blast with golf courses are now going to be open tomorrow, I guess, May 1st.
Yeah.
But beyond, you and I talked about, you can't touch the flag. You have to be in a single cart. But now they said no scorecards. And I guess they don't want you to put the ball in the hole, which for, bad golfers out there, and I don't golf, for bad golfers out there, how great. This is like an instant gimme. That's a gimme. Corona gimme.
You can make up
forever.
Make up your score as you go through, which is typically what I do whenever I would play golf. I haven't played golf in a while.
Yeah.
But when I would, man, that's what I would do. I'd give me a 6 there, even though it's like an 8 or a 9.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a great thing. Hi, Joe. Hi, Laura. Hi, Amanda. Good evening, everybody from quarantine. For those of you who are counting along, this is day 46 of the quarantine.
And I
day 4060. And I've turned into just a handyman. Just so everybody knows, I've officially retired from real estate, from parenting. I wake up, I put on this same zip up, which, by the way, I used last night as a blanket when I slept. And I just got to work, changing some light fixtures, painting a few rooms, put up new screens. That's all I do now. I'm a handyman. Brian Carruthers, handyman.
You're like Snyder. Remember Snyder that used to go
Yeah.
around, the handyman Snyder, with all the you have a big thing of like keys on your side?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm missing is the keys.
Dude, I think when you do home projects and you get things done, man, it's so rewarding. Whenever you're done, you get to sit back and look at it and feel like you accomplished something for the day.
Yes. You feel good about it.
And it keeps your mind off of everything going on too. I see your mom asked, Ed, do you have a fever? No, Mrs. C, I do not have a fever. What happened was I got like an itchy throat and I start coughing a little bit because it's allergies. But in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'm coughing. So, but no fever, no shortness of breath, nothing else going on. Just a little bit of a cough with.
You think you should get the test? You think you should put one up the nose and see?
No, I don't. Not yet. Hopefully never.
No, let's hope you don't get the.
Save those for the people that actually need them.
Yeah, you have no symptoms. You're fine. Now, your eyes look like they're watering a little bit. Oh no. I shouldn't have said anything.
I'm a worry wart too, man. One little thing and you start getting. I mean, and by the way, this has been going on for what, a month and a half now.
Yeah.
And I've there's been different times during the month and a half where I thought I had shortness of breath. Where there's times where I thought I had a fever because I get real worried and my face gets warm and red, and I'm thinking, oh God, I'm hot. I'm having a fever.
Yeah.
And so this is just in the rotation of my worry. God forbid that I ever have all three at once. Then I might.
All three. You got to go get checked. You got to go get checked if you get all three. Last night, I didn't sleep very good last night. It was like 11 o'clock. I was in bed with Marcy. And now, you know how it is, Ed. You've been married a long time. A lot of people say you're either going to get out of this with more kids or you'll get divorced, the corona quarantine. Right now, I would say my wife and I are kind of like at 50-50. I wasn't this isn't the point of the story, but my daughter now, who has a phone, texted my wife and said, I have a stomach ache. Okay. So I went in, we brought her into our bed, and man, does she take up a lot of space? Or your kids sleep with you and Katie ever? And like, I didn't know that the kids must get bigger and expand as the night goes on, because I'm 6'5", 300 pounds, and I had a sliver of the bed. Ellie somehow must have just gotten just triple her size. And then the heat factor, man, these kids are a ball of heat. Like, she's like 500 degrees in my bed. But if I leave the bed, then I'm accused of like I'm a deadbeat dad. It's like, well, that would have been nice to spend the night with you, Dad, and cuddle with you. And I had a stomach ache. Where were you when I woke up? So I stuck it out. But I found I just had a pair of sweatpants on, and I'm freezing. I can't get under the covers. So this zip up is on the floor. So I put it on me like a blanket.
It's a good move, man. It's very, very comfy. But you're right about the kids. Ours don't sleep with us very often. Maybe if there's a thunderstorm or something, they get freaked out. They'll come in. But other than that, they're usually pretty good about that type of thing. Now I've gone to their bed and I've had to sleep with them when they've been sick or something's going on. They're scared to have a bad dream, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I decline when the kids. It used to be, and I know what everyone's going to say. It goes by so fast, and you're going to regret. Like when the kids say, "Hey, Dad, will you lay with me for a little bit?" I know what that means. That means I'm going to be put in a headlock, and I won't fall out of bed, and eventually I'll fall asleep within like 10 minutes of laying there, and then the whole night's gone. So we always like kick the can for the kids. Like my son Sai will say, "Can I sleep over in your room tonight, or do you want to sleep in the playroom tonight?" I'll go, "Oh, let's do it Friday." And then when Friday comes, I'll go, "Hey, how about some ice cream instead of a sleepover?" Just I'm too old, and I think I'm too big to sleep on the floor.
Yeah, man, it's the sleepovers are tough because we're the ones that don't sleep all night. The kids sleep, but we don't. So, and then you're like a monster the next day because you're so tired and groggy.
Right. Or if I sneak out, again, worst dad in the world, worst dad in America, because I snuck out on the kids.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be able to be there, to help support them and everything else. But that's funny, man. I mean, you got that big white beard, you got that thing. You'd be fun to if I was a little kid, man, like you're a kid. I'd want to be snuggling up next to you too. You'd be nice and warm, I'm sure.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that, and let everyone else know. Hey, hi Marie, hi Terry, hi Tim, hi Sandy, hi Jessica, hi TJ, hi Jenny. Uh, hey, I see that he's ready to go. Why don't we bring Cody in? We can't make him. It's not like he's like us, just sitting around in quarantine waiting to go. He's got things to do, things to paint. He can't wait around for us. Let's bring him in. Cody Sabol is a live performance speed artist. He's on cleats, he's on gloves, he's in celebrities' basements, and there he is. Welcome, Cody. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Hey,
Thank you
Cody.
guys for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. How's quarantine treating you?
It's good. We had a baby in December. This is our first baby, so I think it's definitely been an opportunity that I don't think a lot of people get right off the bat, because you don't get a lot of time off if you're the dad. Usually, you don't get that, and so now that I've been home, basically his whole life, it's been a really amazing experience.
Yeah. I remember when my kids were born, I never wanted to go to work. Like when I would go to work, put in the exact amount of time I had to do and instantly get home. But you only get that. And Ed, I don't know if you felt that same way, but you only feel that way once you have kids. You can't explain it to someone who doesn't have kids. But this is a blessing for you, man, to have all this time at home.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if I really wanted to, I could basically work from home most of the time, unless it's like an event or a mural that I have to be off site. I could typically do everything at home, but I just get distracted. Like in the studio that I work out of in Irwin, I don't even have a chair in there. But when I'm home, there's all these comfy couches, bed, and it sometimes gets a little distracting. Sometimes you take a little bit too much of a break, but yeah, I have enjoyed being home every step of the way. And there are things that come with that. You get closer to your spouse, and I get a chance to be with my son and my dogs, and kind of handle things from a different perspective, where you're not thinking of work as so much.
Cody, how about a little bit about the art? So the live events are absolutely incredible. And I don't think Ed's been to one. I have not been to one. And I want to show a bunch of your art tonight. And we have a ton of questions on how it's kind of started. But how
Yeah.
do you describe it? Is speed art accurate?
Yeah, yeah. Speed painting,
And
whatever
how do you know you're good at that?
when I was so I went to college in Kentucky. I went to Kentucky Christian University, and I played football there, and it was a small town in Kentucky where like nobody knew where it was. It's not even worth my time trying to describe to you where it is. Um, but we played competitive football, so to kind of get away from football, I befriended a few people on campus that were musicians. They were music and worship majors at Kentucky Christian University. And I was kind of drawn to those guys. I've been drawing my whole life. I was good at art from a young age, and it was a hobby of mine, and I kind of stopped doing it for a while. So when they would do their thing, they had like their own little band, and I would just come and I would paint or draw when I was with them, and they would kind of give me a space to like just paint while they were playing for, different campus activities. And I started doing it faster and more performancy, and then by the time, so that was when I was a sophomore in college, and now I got 2 years of doing that with like a band and everything by me. So it started turning more performancy, and then I saw other people doing it. And I just kind of tried to turn it into something that people can enjoy. I think a lot of people, and I'm speaking from my personal experience, I certainly don't have a large attention span. So I tried to make the paintings almost for me and my attention span, trying to make them short and sweet and fun and, just all around entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. It works.
Cody, big fan of your work, man. I had a chance today to check out a few things. One of the videos I watched that you have on your website was when you
Guys,
did
I don't
the.
know if I was muted or.
Uh oh, did
He
we
can't
lose
hear
you?
me.
Uh-oh.
I can't.
Cody, can you hear me? All right, I'm gonna X out.
Ed,
Can you
click
guys hear
out
me? I
back
can't
in.
hear you.
Cody, can you still hear me?
Oh no.
Uh-oh, Cody, anything? Are you there? All right, we'll click out Cody and we'll click him back in. All right, call back in, Cody. Well, now it's just me and a painting. What do you say to a painting of James Conner that you didn't paint and that you also have no true details about? Let's see, was that Ed who just came back in? Yeah, here we go. Let's bring back in Ed because Ed, you disappeared and then Cody disappeared, and it was just me left with this painting of James Conner. I didn't know what to say, so I'm glad you're back.
Well, I know last night whenever we brought our guest on, which was Johnny Hartwell, he couldn't hear me, so I had to X out and X back in. So
All right, here comes Cody. He's back.
Yeah.
Cody,
Sorry,
how
guys.
about now?
I can hear you guys now. For some reason, I couldn't hear you guys, and I had a little panic moment. But I can hear you
That's
guys
okay.
fine now.
that's all right, man. Hey, I was just saying when you couldn't hear me, big fan of your work, bud. A chance to look at some of the stuff here this week and today in particular. Got to watch a video of you doing the Barkley, the Saquon Barkley one, where we couldn't hear the speech because the music was playing over top, but I'm guessing you were doing some inspirational speaking at the same time of painting that. Is that kind of the deal?
Yeah, well, I think we're. Are you referring to the one at Thon at Penn State?
Yes.
That was more of a basically a thanks for having me, because it's uh, you get very few allotted minutes to perform, so they kind of was like, hey, short and sweet. Not a lot of people just kind of like want me to talk. It's more like just
paint,
paint for
boy,
us.
paint.
So for me, it was just a gratitude. Thanks for having me. This is amazing. So that kind of stuff.
Cody, do you speak though? Do you do speaking type things, or did I read that wrong?
Yeah, I do. I was actually a preaching major in college, and I worked at a church, and so I do a lot of speaking, and I haven't spoken in a little while. I'm always comfortable doing it, but I'm constantly writing things that I will speak on. A lot of faith-based stuff.
Great. Tim Athanas just said hi, and you were his youth pastor at his church. And Tim
Tim.
said that Cody painted a portrait of his boys, and it's absolutely incredible. I'd like to have a Cody painted. It's me though, not my kid.
Tim was our he volunteered for the church that I worked at. He worked a lot of security, and so he was very intimidating. So he
You know what's
twist my
funny
arm a
about
little
that?
bit, and I'll do whatever.
I don't have a picture of Tim, and I've known him forever. I've
Tim's
never
great.
found Tim intimidating, and he tells me that like when Juju was at West Allegheny at Donaldson, Tim was like his security guard, and I thought, well, that's an easy pickoff. I'm going to rob Juju because Tim is so not intimidating. But I guess when he turns it on, he turns it on.
Yeah, I mean, hey, nobody's getting through those doors without his permission, without his say so.
Cody, when you mentioned Thon, here's a picture that I saw, and a friend of mine goes to Penn State, and is this this past year when you did the Penn State the fundraiser?
Yeah, this is February.
Because they said a friend of mine who's a friend of a friend of a friend said like this was like an emotional experience. Like people in the crowd were going insane when you put these canvases together and they formed the Nittany Lion.
Oh, that's really sweet. So that painting, Penn State's always special to me because my parents went to Penn State, and if you go to Penn State, I think it's the negative word is a cult, but the word that they use is like a family. So
All
you
right.
you definitely see that when you go up there. I definitely don't think of it as um, I always hear the negative side of things because of you know the rest of my family being Pitt fans, so they will call it
Okay.
a cult. I
Yeah.
love Penn State so much. I've been up there several times, painting at Thon and being around the kids at Thon that put that whole thing together. I mean, it was an emotional experience for me. It was something that, like, all these kids, this is a kid run thing, and they raise all this money that, gets used for some amazing things. Uh, And I always get really surprised when people say things like that. And I think it's just the way art in general moves people, just out of their chairs and inspires people in a way. So I don't take very much credit for that. I just think art is what it is. It moves people. It gets people to think and to react. And like one time, I painted at an event where it was for the Duquesne Tamburitzans, and I painted just like one of their guitar players, and it took about 10 minutes, and there was a woman who cried. I did it upside down. I flipped it, and she cried. And it was just a guitar player. So
Wow.
I think
Do,
it's just art in general that just does that to people, and I totally get it.
do you feel a lot of pressure that it better look right when you flip it upside down, and Sidney Crosby standing right next to you, and you got these crowd of all these rich people, and they've watched you for all this time. You hope that you don't flip it over and it looks like Yager.
Oh my gosh, well, you know what? If I'm aiming for Sydney and I go for Yager, that's better than sometimes that it happens that way.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'll turn to the person who's having me and I'll go, boy, I hope this doesn't suck, and they'll look very confused for a second, but you know, I think once you I think once you scare them a little bit and kind of set the bar low for yourself, you
low.
can't do anything but exceed it.
Now, Cody, did I see that correct on the video when you were doing the Saquon Barkley there at Penn State that you used your hands for some of it?
Yeah,
Like,
so I used my hands only for the most recent one, the Nittany line I did back in February. The Saquon Barkley, I think I went back and forth between brushes and hands. And I think it's because I got more time to do the Nittany Lion one that I would prefer using my hands. I feel like I have more control than when I use brushes. But brushes, you can just cover more of an area quicker. So I think the first year I had 10 minutes. The Saquon painting was 10 minutes, and the Nittany line was 14. So
oh,
yeah, I'm
wow.
I'm an adult finger painter.
So how did this come together where all of a
Incredible.
sudden took off? So you're doing these charity events, I know, which I've seen you at a lot of different ones, and people, you blow up the internet, right, when you're at an event because people love these reveals, and it's just so fun and it's fast. How do you go from that to doing what was it, Cam Hayward spikes for a Steeler game? How does that develop?
Yeah. I think a lot of it has been word of mouth. It all started back during the second of the back-to-back Penguin Stanley Cup runs, and I did that painting of Phil Kessel,
Mm-hmm.
and people really ate that one up. And I kind of did it as a joke because I used that unflattering like Sochi 2014 Olympic shot of Phil,
Yeah.
the famous one that gets turned into a meme. And I kind of did it for my friends Mikey and Big Bob at 96.1 because everybody was about Phil Kessel in 2016, 2017. And everybody, I mean, it got on NHL.com. They wrote a story on it, NHL Network. A lot of the local news stations wrote about it. And I think from there, I started getting picked up by like other organizations in Pittsburgh. And I think things started just rapidly kind of moving in that way. And I'm super grateful because like, it, it's been kind of the city of Pittsburgh that has really rallied around me in a weird way. Like, you have to check out this adult finger painter, and I'm just super grateful for this city and the people in it and the people that have wholly supported me for the last 3 or 4 years. And it's been crazy.
Brian posted a picture of you and looked like Devin Bush. You did Devin Bush's basement. Is that what we understand?
Yes, that whole story was really funny. I was at my parents' house, and this was about a week after every single event that I had lined up got canceled, right? So there's that little bit of panic that, like, basically once the NBA canceled their season, I knew that I was going to lose a lot of jobs. And I don't think I fully understood the extent of what this lockdown would do until a couple weeks later. And It's probably like a week or two after that, and I was sitting there like kind of discussing with my wife, like, okay, we have to just like kind of pivot our focus onto like other forms of artwork so that we can sort of, pay our bills.
Yeah.
And I was at my parents' house, and I got a FaceTime from a number that I didn't have saved, and I just, I answered it, and it was Devin Bush, and he was like, "Hey man, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, "Nothing. I got nothing." And he's like, "Do you want to come over? You want to paint my basement?" And so for the next 5 days, me and my brother went to Devin's house and painted his basement.
What did you put in the basement? And is it looked like it's kind of a tribute to him, which is cool. It's his house, so he can do what he wants. But
Yeah.
uh, how did you come up with the vision of what you wanted to do with it? Tell everyone what you put on the walls.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments that were like, "Wow, he must be really full of himself," which isn't true. And a lot of people think it's just like a game room, but he wanted it to be Steelers and Michigan, a lot of his accomplishments. But it's not a game room. It's not really a basement. He's turning it into a gym. So it's his own home workout. He wanted stuff that would motivate him, I guess. And the thing that motivates him a lot is just seeing himself in an NFL uniform. Um, I, for me, I've only made it into a college uniform, but to be in an NFL uniform, no matter if you played at Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, like it's still something that, like you can't. It's not a moment where, and again, I'm speaking for these guys, where you like made it and now you can cruise. It's like I
Yeah.
have to remain in this uniform. Like I can't fizzle out in a year or two. And I think anytime that you have a number and a name on the back of a Steelers jersey, that's enough to motivate you. So I just try to do a bunch of things. Like I did the Steelers stripes, I did the Michigan stripes, just a bunch of. I did an undersized word mark, and that's just his real focus was saying, you know, scouts had called him undersized, so we put that real big right there, and his name and number, and a word mark that says the team, because he's the centerpiece of that defense right now, and so just a bunch of different things.
Yeah, that's cool. I apologize. My computer's going all wacky, so I wanted to show a bunch of your art, and I don't know what's happening. My my extra web browser might come up and embarrass me, so I apologize early. But yeah, that's awesome. Quickly on those spikes, I saw that you've done spikes, and that's a whole new thing, right? How do you make sure like the artwork on that doesn't come off during the game?
I'll tell you what, these cleats, these spikes are they're gonna kill me one day. They're very difficult, and so the biggest thing that you have to do with these cleats is you have to prep them. I have a handheld sander, and I will sand down the cleats. Not too much, but just enough to like get the uh, get the cleat ready to accept the paint, give it a little more bite so the paint has something to stick to. Because these sleek surfaces that a lot of these Nike, Adidas, Under Armour cleats have, they won't really bite. So like once you make a cut or you get stepped on a little bit, I mean you're gonna tear half your artwork off. So
Yeah, right.
when you sand it down, it helps. There is a product called Leather Prepper and Deglazer. It's for leather, but it typically works. It'll take the wax finishing off of the cleat, so you can put your artwork on there without the like the shine and the sheen of it underneath, because that the paint doesn't stick to that. So painting cleats is 90% prep, and taping, all that stuff falls under prep, and 10% actually doing the artwork. It's a challenge. I just finished some shoes today of all these Disney characters on them, and it was the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. They're tough.
Wow.
I'm
We
not
saw it
gonna
for
lie.
Josh Harrison, a lot of Steelers, and
Yeah,
it definitely is the flavor of sports right now because
yeah.
MLB allows players to do it. NFL, of course, every week now people have it, so that should keep you busy for the next like 50 years, I hope.
I certainly hope so. I it's nice being in a city that holds sports up the way it does. everybody here is black and gold, everything, including me growing up. And I think having these connections and these relationships with players that are like, hey, who do you get your cleats done by? And they're like, oh, it's this kid with weird hair, and he also finger paints and he does it. So and having the connections within the organization with staff and is is really nice and has really helped me. So I will do anybody's cleats. Just know that it's not my favorite thing to do.
Cody, where'd you grow up, man? Where'd you play high school football?
I went to Norwin. I'm a Norwin guy.
A
For
Norwin
those that
Knight.
don't know, it's south of Monroeville, down Route 30. You know.
That explains the Irwin reference to the studio,
Yes,
right?
yeah. My buddy, Max McDowell, who I went to high school with, he is now with the Milwaukee Brewers. He's a catcher in the organization. He bought a building that's called the Baseball Academy, and I have a room out of there that he it's plenty of space that I can get my work done in. And I grew up in that place as the Baseball Academy and at a weight room. I mean, it had a weight room that looked like Rocky, Balboa type, Rocky 4 type
Yeah.
stuff. And it's recently been fixed up by Norwin Speed and Strength Academy. But that going in that place reminds me of like the hustle and grind of what it was like to be an athlete, because I'm so clearly not an athlete anymore. But it's
Well,
smells.
the speed art probably has got your mindset ready, right? I mean, athletics, you have to perform, you have to stay focused, you have a clock.
It's true. So what I think it closely reminds me to sports is the adrenaline that you get, the nervousness, the anxiousness that you get, like right before you're about to start, right before you work all week to do one thing, and that's kind of how that's how you look at football, and that's how I approach art. And I think that I played football, and I tried so hard to be a good football player. I did everything possible to be a good football player. It just didn't work out. But all of the all the things that I learned from trying to be a real good football player and always having a chip on my shoulder is I learned like self-discipline. I learned what it takes. Basically, I learned what it takes to fail. I know what it takes to succeed because I worked as hard as I possibly could, and I still, fell short in a lot of areas. So having that perspective of like, it might be unhealthy sometimes. It's like I'm not working hard enough,
Well, Cody,
and that drives me.
well, I was going to say, man, you definitely had some success, man, because not every plays high school football goes on to play at a college level, even if it's a small college level. There's many that their last game they play is the last game their senior year in high school. So you must have did something right, man, to keep on going. Hey, I wanted to ask you real quick that looking at some of that artwork today too. I love the Joe Hayden one that you did, and
Yeah,
the cool thing about Joe Hayden was I noticed in the corner you had a Florida Gator, it looked like. And of course, Joe Hayden went to Florida. Do you try
yeah.
to put like little Easter egg type things in your artwork like that not everybody's going to notice, but when somebody does like myself, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the stuff that I put in there is pertinent to the athlete and to their life in some way. If I'm trying to remember correctly, Joe has also has a little heart close to the gator that says Sarah in it because his wife, his name is Sarah, and there's a few things in every single painting that I do. I'm actually looking at the Deontay Johnson one right now. It has all pro in there. He told me that he wanted big vibes. He's just from outside of Tampa, so there's a big Tampa word mark in there. I try to sprinkle in those little Easter eggs every now and then.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And then also you're on gloves. I saw that you worked with Joe Musgrove for the Pirates. Was it last year or the year before
Yeah.
for Players Day? And that glove was voted like on ESPN as the coolest. What was it? Was it a Star Wars theme?
It was Marvel's Avengers theme. It was the
Sorry, I don't follow any of it, so it all looks the same to me. But it looked really cool.
No worries. I grew up on Spider-Man, so I followed closely um to the Marvel Avengers, those movies. But I had that idea driving. I know exactly where I was when I had the idea. It just popped into my brain. I was driving down like I was on the backside of Monroeville, just off of 376, and this idea popped in. I know it's weird. I have
Yeah,
a
right.
weird memory like that.
What were you
And
wearing?
that I can't tell you. Obviously, I don't take account for what I'm wearing most of the
Yeah.
time. Uh, but this idea popped into my head. I was like, oh, I could do this really important feature in the Marvel movies. It's this Infinity Gauntlet. There's a whole backstory. It's basically the pivotal moment of the last two Avengers movies that makes it such big movies. And I was like, I'm going to do that on a baseball glove. So I reached out to 3 athletes. It was Joe, Trevor Williams, and maybe I can't remember the third, but it was basically a whoever gets back to me first kind of deal.
Okay.
And Joe got back to me first and was like, oh my gosh, let's do it.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
that one was a really fun one for me. And I love baseball. I also played baseball at Norwin, and those guys are super cool. Joe's like maybe the coolest guy I know, I think.
What are you working on now? Anything that is under wraps or will break here, or is quarantine slowing you down and the new baby?
The baby is definitely slowing me down. Quarantine was slow for some weeks, and then some weeks it kicks back up. It's weird. I'm at a big right now. There's a lot of things that came in the last couple of days. I am doing something for Cole Tucker. I'm doing 4 paintings for Miles Sanders of Woodland Hills, and now with the Philadelphia Eagles. I just finished Deontay Johnson's. I just finished some custom Disney shoes and a painting for Jalen Samuels, and that was all this week.
Wow, man, it's a busy week.
So it's definitely been a busy week, and I'll show you one that I'm working on now.
Let's do it.
But I haven't showed anybody this, and typically it's because before I do it, they look really bad. But I wanted to work on. Let me try to frame it up nice for you. So there's an idea behind this one, and can you guys see that? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's. I'll try to get closer. I'm on my laptop, which
That's okay.
is the clunkiest thing in the world. But so the idea behind this one is I felt pretty inspired by a lot of the things that Pittsburgh has done to come together and support people going through, whatever crisis they might be going through because of coronavirus, whether it's being sick or not having money to provide for, you know, uh, just their families. And I think there's been a lot of initiatives and a lot of people that I know that are actively trying to help people. And well, elephants represent community, and they represent just like togetherness. They're always in a herd. That kind of idea. I'm not a very like deep person as an artist, so I don't have a lot of the words behind the visuals that I wish I had. But just a herd of elephants going across. I guess that would be the Warhol Bridge.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's a simple message, but I just I love elephants and I love Pittsburgh, so
Cody, I have a
symbolize it all.
picture of Ed when he played Little League Baseball for Ross Draper Township. I
Yeah.
don't have a big budget, but I've sent it to you. Could you maybe paint it on the side of my house?
You know what? Let's consider that a passion project. I'll do that one for free.
Okay, it's pure passion.
That's
Oh
a
man,
pure
come on, Cody. I'm a Westmoreland County guy too, man. We got to stick together.
Where'd you go to high school?
Bell Vernon.
Bell Vernon? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I know I at least know 2 people from Bell Vernon. I'm pretty sure one I played in freshman football and I got decapitated on their field.
How so? Like actually destroyed?
I was playing quarterback and my coaches think that I was probably sacked more that year than they've ever seen a quarterback get sacked in any league in any season before. We had a bunch of 5'1" offensive linemen. It was just a bad situation. So
Hey, and Cody, I'm sorry we're having such bad technical difficulties, but Here's the picture of Ed. I have it on my phone. I'll send it. Do you think there's anything we can do with this? We can figure out some Easter eggs that we can put in there. I know all of his backstories.
That's perfect. I love that. I love that.
And just think of it too. It could be a way because who's crazier in life besides sports fans, but parents of kids who play sports. We could use that as one of like a reference point where you could do all of these snotty kids paintings because parents will pay the big bucks for them.
There's probably a market there for you, Cody.
You know what? I'm open to sort of anything right now. I would be happy to paint for anybody who wants it. I don't know this yet because let's just say right now my son is 4 months old, but when he's 18 and he's a senior in high school, that might be a cool present for them. Maybe that's a shameless plug. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, of course, man. Of course. People love it.
That's awesome.
It's ideal for nursery. You never know what avenues you can go down. Ideal. Who would have thought that Cody Sabol artwork would be perfect for nurseries and high school graduations?
You know what's so funny? Speaking of nurseries, I don't have any artwork in my house that's on the walls. None.
Really?
That's a fun fact about me. I don't have anything. I'm fairly sure my wife doesn't want any on the wall. She gets enough of it. Our basement is all, stuff that I'm working on, so she gets enough of the artwork. But I didn't even paint anything cute on my son's wall or anything like that. So but I will come to your house and I will paint your nursery.
Yes, there you go. Well, I'll send you the picture of Ed. Maybe just do it on a napkin. See what we can do.
All right, yeah.
A Mother's Day gift for his mom.
Oh, that would be really sweet.
He would love that.
I see that terrible towel in the background. Is that signed by anybody?
Yes, thank you for asking, Cody. This is down in my game room, and that is I'll get out of the way. Terry Bradshaw signed that. And,
oh wow,
that's really cool.
Yeah. My dad got it a while back, and then he moved, and he didn't want to take it with him where he was headed. And then I said, "Really? You don't want me? I can hang this up for you." He's like, "No, I'd rather you have it." So I was like,
"That's sweet.
Yeah, that's cool."
I got my dad for his birthday, his 50th birthday. I got him his favorite baseball player growing up was Mike Schmidt, and I got him a signed bat by Mike Schmidt, one of his bats. So that was like sort of the big gift that he got that year.
That's really cool. And it's cool that it's a hand-me-down because no one will ever get rid of it, and you give it to someone. That's the beauty of sports and memorabilia and your artwork and stuff like that never goes to the trash, which is really, really kind of inspiring.
I think so too. I'm such a sports guy, and not just because of the being from Pittsburgh and we're champions. We are just born champions. It's like just the I think it's the atmosphere that sports is in as far as it affects people in just such a positive way, like just the family of sports. I can't help to think about like JJ Watt and what he's done because of his platform in sports and just getting people together. Like I think that's the biggest thing that we're missing right now, and this is coming from a pretty soft perspective, I guess, but I think just missing being with each other watching sports. The last thing me and my grandfather did before he passed away was we watched a Penguin game together. It's those types of things that I think we're missing right now, and I'm blessed still staring at that Deontay Johnson painting that I'm still involved with sports in a super small way, but I think we miss it. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, for sure, man. 100%. Absolutely. Like Brian and I have talked on here many a times. I coach my two sons in baseball, and it's the number one thing I'm missing right now this time of the year.
You know what? I don't think I'm going to coach my son's teams. I think my dad is still young enough. So when my son starts T-ball, do you start T-ball at 4?
Yes. Yep.
Most
communities, yeah, 4 or 5.
By the way, on a side note, Tim Athanas was my son's T-ball coach.
There you go.
So
all comes back to Tim.
Small world.
So is your son an all-star now?
No, he hates the game now because of Tim. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, he plays. He loves the game, and Tim did a great job. But you were saying that you won't take the Tim route. You want your dad to coach?
Yeah, I think that's my
That'll
dad.
never happen. Just so you know, that is a beautiful dream. But yeah, wait till you see how nasty these local sports are, man. That'll never be allowed because um, in parent justice, and you'll be part of Parent Nation. You already are. Um, Other parents who are coaches can yell at the kids, but it can't go any further than that. You have to have a kid on the team to be a functional coach. So maybe you could coach and then bring your dad on as like the third base coach.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. I think he would definitely appreciate that. He's actually involved with Norwin's high school baseball team. Um,
Oh, okay.
so hopefully his name is big enough, and maybe it's not. I don't know, to say, hey, if I want to coach, I'm gonna coach. I hope he lays down the hammer like that. But yeah. So he's coached me my whole life. Did a real good job. Coached Norwin high school baseball, and now my brother, who's a way more of a stud baseball player than I am, he's playing at Seton Hill now, and so hopefully my dad gets a shot, instead of these parents that maybe.
No resume is good enough for a parent.
That's right. That's what they say. That's what they say. Although I
Sparky
have seen
Anderson,
some.
Sparky Anderson could come back to life, and the ghost of Sparky Anderson would show up to Norwin Little League right now, and they'd still say, "Sorry, you don't have enough experience." The local mailman's going to be the coach.
I'm gonna take your word for it because, youth sports is a scary place sometimes.
Yeah, and Ed
Among
does a great
parents,
job. Ed is the ideal coach that you want. He loves the kids like his own. He doesn't get crazy, but I think more people want him to get crazy. But to his credit, I think he keep it so well. Ed and Tim are very similar. They just want great experiences for the kids.
And I was gonna tell Cody, man, for congrats on the baby, man. Enjoy every moment of it. I have two boys myself, and they're 9 and 6 now. And I remember when they were both 4 months not that long ago. Take it all in, brother. And when they get to that age, that Brian knows this because with his daughter and his son too. When they get to that age at 4 or 5, man, get involved if you want, whether it's an assistant coach or a coach with your dad or whoever. Because I know the time that I spend with them, coaching them, which can be crazy sometimes. A lot of times I got to bring in another guy to coach them because they won't listen to me. But it's a special time that I cherish. And I know Brian always jokes with me, especially with my older one. He goes, at some point, you're going to get to a certain level where you're not going to be able to coach him anymore, And
Right.
I know that's probably coming in the next few years. So I'm, enjoying it now.
Yeah, that's I'm excited. I think though, he's definitely gonna play baseball. I'm sure my dad would never let him not play baseball. But we are looking. My wife is from Kentucky. When I brought her up here, she adopted hockey like into her soul. She will watch every Penguin game, every Vegas game. No, like a big Fleury fan here. I think we're gonna have him start playing hockey. I think hockey's gonna be the way to go. Maybe his main sports. I don't know. I am looking forward to coaching. Just because I'm a big goof. Maybe my dad will be the one who lays down the hammer and is really
Yeah,
serious.
it'd be like a Will Ferrell or like a Chris Farley movie. Your
Yeah,
dad yells at you when you're at the
kicking and
practice
screaming.
coaching the kids.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's funny. Cody, thank you, man. It was great to meet you finally, even though it's over the computer. Again, if you're looking for a passion project, I have it right here for you. Uh, we don't have a number for him, but if
Maybe
you're
like
looking for a quick passion project,
maybe like
Oh
a
man,
maybe like a today and past, something together. So this way you're not totally making fun of me with that 12-year-old version of me, or 10 years. Probably actually that's like 10 years old right there.
I love it.
that's
I don't
great.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think that's a really just a really great picture there.
I agree. I have the perfect spot for it in my office right here, right underneath Mr. Rogers. Ed Troops. Yeah, and it's too dark. You can't see it. Right under Mr. Rogers. We might even move it. Cody,
I'm
thanks.
gonna
Hey, what
have
about a website for people to check out all the art? And I apologize. My computer's been haywire tonight, and I wanted to pull up all the pictures that we were talking about. But where can people go, and what's your website?
Oh, no worries. I've had a lot of fun just talking and hanging
Yeah.
out. My name just Cody Sabol Art. CodySableArt.com.
That's too easy. CodySableArt.com.
Yeah,
There
it
you
was
go.
a lot of fun talking with you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on. This was, a refreshing thing because I haven't had a lot of, I wouldn't consider this human contact, but good conversations.
Yeah, it's good to see people. That's what the whole reason was we started this was we realized Ed and I were in quarantine. We missed each other. So it's a reason for us to see each other and talk. And then we thought, let's bring the coolest people in town together and see if they'll talk to us. And tonight was another example that it worked. So
Did you talk to Dave DeCello?
okay, so we've teased Dave DeCello now for about 4 weeks.
3 weeks.
He said he wants to do it, and then he disappears for a week, and I'll go, what about tomorrow? And then he disappears for another week. So he's a hard get.
I'm gonna tweet at him after this, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, man, let's get on the show."
Let's team it up. It's an artwork extravaganza, Cody and Dave.
That's right. If I'd be happy to come on again and hang out with you guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Cody, thanks, man. All the best and
Thanks,
good luck with your
Cody.
baby. Enjoy
Thank you,
quarantine.
Yep.
All right.
There he goes.
Congratulations.
Cody Sabol, everybody. What a great artist. Lucky to have him in Pittsburgh, don't you think? When you see someone so humble and so connected and knows what he represents. And I'm mostly excited. He said it's a passion project to do that picture of you from Ross Traver because I'm sure he charges an astronomical amount to do art. So for him to say it's a passion project, I'm emailing him right after the show.
Keep it fresh on his memory so he doesn't forget about us come next week, right?
Right. Yes. Smart.
Great guy, man. Again, another great guest, great guy to talk to. And I urge everyone to type that in right there, that CodySableArt.com, and check out his work. Even if if you're just a big sports fan, there's so many cool Pittsburgh sports stuff that he's done over the years that is on there. Cool stories too, man, about him doing Devin Bush's basement, Deontay Johnson.
He's with the Penguins all the time. He does the Penguins night out every year. Good guy to know, man. Great artwork. I think my parents met him at the Roberto Clemente Museum for an Andrew McCutcheon event where he did a picture of Kutch live and people went crazy.
And he gets bonus points for picking up on the terrible towel behind me and asked me who it was autographed by. So all week long I've been on here. No one's asked me once about the terrible towel behind me.
Hey, Ed, what's up with that terrible towel behind you?
There it is.
Look at that. Looks good. Looks real good. Yeah, it's funny. We've talked now through quarantine to so many talented people. I just wish and I know we talk about this all the time. I just wish I had some sort of skill. Like my kids love watching on Food Network, Buddy versus Duff, which is the Ace of Cakes versus the Cake Boss. And they make these outrageous things every week. And we watch them. And I love watching that show. Yeah. And I think, man, I wish I had some talent where I could just, now you're an artist. You've created some good pieces of art that people have paid for. But looking at them like, man, I wish I don't know, how do you just sit down and all of a sudden it looks like Palomalu with a couple strokes of the pencil. And you're like, look, it looks exactly like him. It's a gift.
I mean, in all fairness, I just kind of doodle and mess around to kind of pass the time. And being very, very, very amateur, what comes out is maybe something where you said, wow, that's better than a 4-year-old. But what Cody's doing is big professional stuff, man. I mean, that's like, I completely agree, man. A lot of pressure too. I mean, he does that stuff in front of large crowds. I couldn't even imagine trying to do something like that and having that pressure. And it's timed. I think he does it in like 20 minutes?
Where he said he did that Nittany Lion, the two canvases together in like 14 minutes. There was a photo, and I wanted to pull it up, and I hate when things go wrong. It drives me crazy. But it's him at like this it looks like this like corporate event. He's covered in paint, working his butt off, and like all these like rich snobs are like 90 feet away from him, like sipping a martini. Like, does it really look like anything yet? And you know he's going to turn it upside down, and all of a sudden it's going to look like Jose Lean is in the room.
Jose Lean missing that ground ball in Game 7 of the '92 series, right?
Chico.
That's what he should do.
You know, a little known fact about Chico: when he got traded from the Pirates, he went to Kansas City Royals, where he was arrested naked in a car.
I did. I remember that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Chico, baseball player too.
Golden Glove, second baseman forever, 0 errors in like 955 attempts. And then there was one in Atlanta, Georgia in 1992 that just couldn't quite come together.
And what is it with my memory of Jose Chico Lean? One, Cody Sabol's never painted Jose Lean. I don't know why we would
How
say.
we get on the subject? Yeah.
But number two is, in my memory, all those guys were monsters, maybe because we were kids, but you had Bonilla and Bonds and Van Slyke, these enormous guys. Chico Lean, if I had a guess, was 2'5" and weighed 60 pounds.
And played second base. And you never really he did his job so well, you never really knew about him. Or you knew Chico. I think he batted 8th in the lineup right before the pitch. So he wasn't a strong hitter, but his glove was so good and so reliable at second base. That's what I think he was a Golden Glover like multiple years in a row. And
then the double play call, Lanny always would have it. For mean, to lean, to bream, double play Buccos.
3-1, we had the ninth.
You're right. We have got Bobby Bonilla up, the young slugger, and the wave is going around Three River Stadium. Go ball, get out of here.
Long time ago. There was no doubt about it. Why don't we get Lanny on here?
That is true. Well, hey, tomorrow on the show, we have Chris Shevlin from Robert Morris. He's the voice of men's football and basketball for the broadcast. And we're going to get some insight on him as what he's hearing about the NCAA, and bummer of a year that the Colonial men did not get to go and appear in the tournament. And then just today, I don't know if it really will affect Robert Morris, but the NCAA made a ruling that players can make money off of their likeness now. So that's the whole thing's changed overnight. We're coming out of quarantine, a different world.
Yeah, it's definitely, everything's evolving quickly, man. And anxious to talk to him tomorrow about Robert Morris. That new facility, the new basketball gym that they have out there is amazing.
Yeah.
And the football stadium, Joe Walton Stadium, I've done high school games there before. It's a beautiful facility, great place to be. And if I'll have to ask him tomorrow night, I believe, I'm trying to think if it's the press box where the windows are tinted, and to call a game is very difficult at night. So I'll have to ask him about that. I can't remember if that's the one, or if it's another high school stadium, or not. That's not a high school stadium. That's a college stadium, but another stadium in the area.
Chris has such a great voice, and you and I both did radio. You still do, but when I see Chris at Robert Morris events, he has such the perfect voice, and it's always on. Like, he's not putting on like a fake voice to broadcast. He just has like the voice of God, the pipes of God. But when I see him, I make sure that like I go a little deeper. Like when I see him at events, I'll go, "Hi, Chris, great to see you today." And he'll go, and it doesn't even dawn on him that I'm trying to put a voice on, because his voice is so good. And he'll go, "Brian, it's great to see you today as well. Colonials 14, Mount St. Mary 7.
It just never turns it off, huh?
I don't think he's turning it on. He's just
that's him.
He's a master, man. I'm a phony. I try to sound like Shevlin, where there's only one Shevlin. Hello, Brian, and welcome to this great event. I'm not going to talk to you much longer because Joe Walton is over there, and I'm going to go say hi to him instead. Like, okay, Chris, bye-bye, buddy. Great boy. Can't wait to see him tomorrow.
Speaking of impressions, your band impression that you did last night of your cutout band photo, asking your wife out on a date or to the proms, still cracks me up. That was outstanding.
Thanks. It's funny. I was in the other room last night. I had to leave my office where I normally shut the door when we do the show, and I was in my kitchen because the computer broke. I have some major computer problems. But when I went in the other room, I was laughing because I was thinking about pictures of you and those band pictures of me. And Marcy is watching TV or looking at her phone or something. She's like, "That sounded like the dumbest show ever." I was like, "Yeah, pretty much, yeah."
Well, there you go.
Yeah, spade's a spade.
That's it.
Well, hey, tomorrow night, big Chris Shevlin will be here. And I'm going to be speaking to him in a professional radio voice so I don't embarrass myself.
I'll get mine ready as well.
Can I practice on you real fast? Tell me if you notice that I'm trying to do a little more than normal. Say hi to me like you're Chris.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm good, Chris. Great to see you.
No, you sound like like you're doing like a KFC commercial down south or something. Come on, get the Bible chicken.
Pretend like you're Chris again and say, "Hey, Brian, how are you?"
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chris. It's 8:00.
That's better.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's your voice.
He'll just be like, "Wow, this guy's got a great voice too."
That's your spot right there.
Yeah. Oh, good. Hello, Chris. It's 8:00. Ed, good evening. Have a great night. It was great seeing you. And I'll let you know what Cody says about doing the painting of your Ross Draper. I can't
Let
give
me
it
know.
to anybody. If he does do it, I'm keeping it in my office forever.
That's fair. I like it, man.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right. Well, that's it. Ed, thank you. Great to see you tonight.
Hey, stay healthy, everyone.
There goes Ed Troop. I'm Brian Carruthers. Good night from Facebook world in the heart of the quarantine. Good night, everyone. And good night, Mr. Chris Shevlin.